this election madness keeping you up at night? Yeah, me too. Stick around to the end of this video. I have just the thing for better sleep. Beam's Dream Powder. I wasn't even gonna work today. I'm being serious. I was gonna take the day off and rest my brain and rest my soul. And I woke up to news that Donald Trump has announced his appointment of maybe the dumbest dumb shit who ever dumb shitted in this dumb shit era of MAGA dumb shits. Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, B-team broadcaster on Fox and Friends on Fox News. This is the announcement from Donald Trump. Join me as we luxuriate in idiocy. I am honored to announce that I have nominated Pete Hegseth to serve in my cabinet as the Secretary of Defense. Pete has spent his entire life as a capital W warrior for the capital T troops and for the capital C country. Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. With Pete Hegseth at the helm of the Defense Department, America's enemies are on notice. I'm sure they're quaking in their boots that the guy who hasn't washed his hands in more than 10 years because he can't see germs, therefore they don't exist. They're real scared, Donald Trump. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military with a capital M will be capital G great, capital A again. And America will capital N never, capital B back, capital D down. This is something that'll never stop irritating me and being a little shocking to me, that Donald Trump has now been elevated twice to the presidency, the most powerful position maybe on the planet, and he has not mastered his native tongue. I want to introduce you just a little bit to who Pete Hegseth is. We're going to get to the hand washing thing. I got a clip of it. I've talked about it in the past. He's somebody I focused on. I've made multiple videos about him and the racist, harassing things he's done on the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The insane nativist talk and language he uses surrounding American citizen and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar that she hasn't assimilated. Apparently, if you don't wear a cross necklace, you're not assimilated. If you wear religious items that aren't Christian, oh, Pete Hegseth, what will we do? And he's going to be the Secretary of Defense. He said this 5 days ago. First, we'll get to maybe the most important thing, the first couple of important things. And then I'm going to get to some more just ancillary, like WTF items related to his appointment as the Secretary of Defense. Unqualified. They might as well make me the Secretary of Defense. I am equally qualified as Pete fucking Hegseth to lead the Defense Department. He said this 5 days ago about women serving in combat.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated. We've all served with women and they're great. It just, our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
I'm straight up saying we shouldn't have women in combat roles. Why would that be, Pete? Is it because women are not equal to men? They cannot serve in the same roles and the same capacities? They are not as patriotic? They can't... What are you saying? Moron. Here's the real... This is the other thing, and then I'm going to get to some clips. Here's the real threat here, is that he is in lockstep. Obviously, anybody being appointed to cabinet level roles with Donald Trump and high-level Senate confirmed necessary type of roles, they're gonna be the ass-licky of all the ass-licks with Donald Trump. They're going to have their noses firmly implanted into the asshole of Donald Trump. That's gonna be a requisite. It's gonna be a requirement. And Pete Hegseth is about as bootlicky as it gets, worshipful to Donald Trump and the things that he thinks are important, including defending what took place on January 6, 2021. These are insurrectionist supporters, insurrectionist apologists for Donald Trump. This is the headline today from the Washington Post. Pete Hegseth has said exactly how he will shake up the Pentagon. Trump's nominee for defense secretary has called for a war on what he calls the quote-unquote woke military, including potentially firing top brass. One of the items that is so important in government, and this is why Schedule F with Project 2025 and the firing en masse of federal government employees is dangerous, and it is, you need continuity. You need institutional knowledge and understanding of exactly what the ramifications are of your agency and the decisions it makes. You need that. So if they start en masse firing top generals because they're woke, whatever the fuck that means, it means nothing to conservatives. It's a problem. It's a problem for our national security posture in this country. It puts us at a disadvantage. It makes you less safe. It makes me less safe when you start appointing objective, stupid people to positions of high power. That was today's headline from the Washington Post. Here was yesterday's, before it was even announced that Pete Hegseth was going to be named the defense secretary. November 12th from the New Republic. Trump's first executive order may be a military purge. The order could place the military under the president's total command like never before. I'll link below. I'm not going to read from it, but it is dystopian. Purging people Donald Trump doesn't like or doesn't feel are sufficiently loyal to him. Not any concern about their loyalty to the Constitution of the United States or to the United States herself. No concern for that. No. Concerned for fealty, loyalty, undying devotion to the cult leader. Good job, America. Good job. Here's him in 2019 extolling the virtues of not having any hygienic sense and not washing his hands because germs don't exist because he can't see them. Notice his co-stars, his co-hosts are cackling with delight about how stupid it is. He's not joking.
As I told you, my 2019 resolution is to say things on air that I say off air. I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me.
No, I inoculate myself. It's just not, germs are not a real thing. I can't see them, therefore they're not real.
So you're becoming immune to all of the
exactly,
bacteria.
I can't get sick.
Potential defense secretary. And potential defense secretary, as I talked about yesterday, because Donald Trump wants to toss the separation of powers. He wants the Senate to abdicate its role, its constitutionally mandated role of advice and consent relative to his nominations in the confirmation process. He wants them to go out of session so he can just name these people as acting. Here he is in April of 2019, talking to Brian Kilmeade and the hateful, doesn't want to protect the minority, Ainsley Earhart. Here's that clip, just for your edification of the kind of people they have at Fox News.
Veterans granted disability compensation. If you compare after World War II, 1.5 million veterans, 2017, 4.5 million veterans.
This is a really complicated discussion. This is about disability ratings, which isn't always necessarily tied to health care, but the idea that the health care you get is about service-connected disabilities. So if you go to war and you get injured, we'll take care of you. So when you come home, they try to rate how disabled you are, and that's how much care you get. Well, I could be rated for 50% right now if I wanted to be. I mean, just to have a totally, and vets know this out there, I could do ear and ankle and knee and back.
Because it's proportional,
Because
right?
it's proportional for different injuries that you have. Groups out there, vets groups mostly, encourage vets to apply for every government benefit they can ever get after they leave the service. Because, well, why not, right? The government's giving it out. To me, the ethos of service is I serve my country because I love my country, and I'm going to come home and start the next chapter of my life. And if I've got a chronic condition, mental, physical, otherwise, the government better be there for me. But otherwise, I don't want to be dependent if I don't have to be.
You got to have personal integrity.
And right now, a lot of groups are convincing vets to give, get, take more from the system as opposed to just what you need for the service you gave.
Yeah, and these three are talking about military disability, about disabled veterans, people who have served their country, were injured with a service-connected disability, and they're acting as though they're just grifters in it for a handout. And that's who Donald Trump wants to be the defense secretary, with that kind of an attitude about the people who will be eventually veterans, who will leave the military with service-connected disabilities. But this multimillionaire, the fat Fox News contract, I could be 50% disabled if I wanted to, says the millionaire. Here he is in May of 2021, just a quivering coward, so fearful that some immigrants might not just be white Christians, that he starts maligning Ilhan Omar about her lack of assimilation. The American Congresswoman Ilhan Omar isn't American enough because of the things she wears connected to her religion.
What does unchecked illegal immigration and massive waves of refugees look like without assimilation? It looks like this. Globalist Joe, that's Ilhan Omar. Global Joe, just like Jake Sullivan, loves Ilhan Omar, which underscores why his refugee move yesterday is so dangerous. Ilhan Omar was a refugee. She came to America as a young girl, fleeing the civil war in Somalia. Following 4 years in a refugee camp in Kenya, she was granted asylum to the United States, eventually settling in Minneapolis. She graduated high school there, attended college in North Dakota, and secured a prestigious policy fellowship at the University of Minnesota. A few years later, she was elected to the State House and then to Congress. Congresswoman Omar has chosen to return American goodwill with grievance, not gratitude. You've heard her. She views her time in Somalia as blissful, while criticizing the United States as racist, oppressive, and torturous. That's a direct quote. Unlike my good friend Bakr Ali, Ilhan Omar did not choose America. America chose her from the squalor of a refugee camp in Kenya. We opened our doors and welcomed her. The state of Minnesota housed her, educated her, empowered her, enriched her, elevated her, and then elected her. All so she could make a living out of condemning America. Now she is setting the terms of U.S. refugee policy. Inside the halls of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, she is the authority. And she wants more refugees just like her. Moments ago, I mentioned the word assimilation. Shh. Don't say that word too loud. You're not supposed to say that word anymore.
And if all of that wasn't disgusting enough, in the same broadcast, he brags, he promotes the time that he went out on the streets of Minnesota and harassed black people and shoved a Fox News branded microphone in people's faces. And when they said, yeah, no English, he's like, yeah, see, none of them speak English. Oh, Sharia law. Oh. And this is the guy they want to be the defense secretary.
Well, just 5 years ago, I hit the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota for Fox and Friends, a neighborhood dubbed Little Mogadishu with a majority Somali Muslim population. This is what we found. The Islamic schools here in Minnesota, they teach Sharia law.
Yeah, Sharia law.
And what do they teach also American law, the U.S. Constitution?
Actually, I have no idea about that one.
We're here with Fox News just doing a story about the Riverside area. No English? Any at all? No? Just wanted to see if I could ask you a couple quick questions.
No English.
Would you be willing to chat with us?
No, speak English.
No English?
No English.
This was not the exception. Truth is, Ilhan Omar's Minnesota is a preview of what the White House wants for a city near you. Just look at old Europe, which already has it. Europe decided long ago to open its borders, not demand assimilation or allegiance from new arrivals, and gut their militaries to pay for their welfare states. It was a perfect recipe for division, dependency, and decline. It's what Global Joe wants here. And led along by Ilhan Omar and Comrade Cortez, he's doing it.
Bad things. Bad things are in store for our troops. Bad things are in store for our veterans. Bad things are in store for the security posture of the United States. And bad things are in store for the American people and how safe they should feel. When you have someone who is unqualified, has no experience leading an organization like the Defense Department, which, you know, as I've been talking about the last few days about budgetary items, nearly $1 trillion per year we give to the Pentagon. $1 trillion, nearly $1,000 billion, while they croon on about the $80 billion budget of the Education Department. And they're going to put this dumb fuck, this hater of veterans, in charge of that $1 trillion behemoth of an organization. What do you think? Love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this particular independent media channel. If I'm not your flavor, there's somebody else out there that gives you more value, does more for you on a video by video basis or by an article by article basis, support that person. Independent media is critical in times like this. If it is me, though, thank you. Click the join button below, see what's involved. You can go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Follow me on social media, wherever you're out there, at Dollemore. I'd love to see you. And I will see you next time. We're going to follow this. We're not going to let this dipshits off the hook. Be genuine. Take care of one another. It doesn't take much to knock me off my sleep routine, and it's been this way for years. And given everything that's happening right now, it can sure be difficult to turn it off at night. Political upheaval, wars in the East, and we're headed into an entire season of social engagements and possible overindulgence. That's why I'm so excited to talk about Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed, healthy hot cocoa for sleep. Do you have trouble sleeping too? Dream is formulated to ease your body into rest and support all 4 stages of the sleep cycle to help you fall asleep faster and, more importantly sometimes, stay asleep longer. Get up to 50% off right now when you head to shopbeam.com/Dollemore and enter code Dollemore at checkout. Other sleep aids can cause next-day grogginess, but Dream contains a powerful, all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. It's a breeze to add to your evening routine, too. Just mix Dream in hot water or milk, froth, and enjoy before you go to bed. And check out the limited edition holiday flavors, white chocolate, peppermint, and gingerbread. I'm into it. Right now, Beam is offering our listeners exclusive early access to their cyber sale. This is their biggest sale of the year, and my listeners can shop it early before anyone else. Get up to 50% off when you visit shopbeam.com/Dollemore and use code Dollemore at checkout. To try Dream for the lowest price of the year, head over to shopbeam, BEAM.com/Dollemore, enter the code Dollemore, and unlock your early access. That's shopbeam, BEAM.com/Dollemore, and use code Dollemore for up to 50% off. Beam is here to help you get that dream.